Hi, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Well, today, yep, no wings on this one. Airboat with a 618 on it. I've already started to do some maintenance on it. I've got the carburetors off. I'm going to replace the hoses. All the rubber is very old. But the thing I wanted to focus on today for video is the R.A.V.E valves. So I'm going to move the camera over there. I've already taken one off. I'm going to take the other one off now so you can see what it looks like. So as you can see, I've removed all of this from this, and there's a valve or the blade part of it that slides in and out. And of course, I should be able to pull it out, and I can't because it's going to be all covered in carbon. So anyway, I wanted to go through how I got to this point so far. So this bail or clamp clip, whatever you'd like to call it, I'm just going to push it down here and get it around the all right, it's still sticking in the corner. There we go. We'll open that up. Now the cap comes off and it's spring loaded. As you can see, it wants to come out by itself. So this is where we don't want to lose the spring. So I'm going to take it off very carefully and slowly. And there is the spring that I'm talking about. So it fits in this seat right here, and it keeps it so that right now the engine is off, and when it's not required, it's in that direction. So we'll put that one down in a position. There we go. Now, because this is an aircraft engine, it has a cable on it so that when you're up at altitude, you can manually open these because this works on a pressure system. So I'm going to slip this part off, and it just slides backwards and it releases that way. I'll just set it aside out of the way. I'm going to take this bail off right now and put it aside. It's going to come off by itself, and it's easier, especially when you're in a boat. Okay, so now this barely moves. So this one here actually, I think, moves maybe further. So that's as far as it'll go. So it definitely wasn't working right. Now this around the bellows here is the little, I call it a garter spring. And I'm just going to push this off out of its seat. It fits in this groove right here. Okay, so it's not attached anymore. And well, this one I can turn by hand. Normally you'll use a 10 mil wrench. So it was bottomed out. It should be a little snugger than that, but it can't turn because the bellows is screwed onto it. So I'm going to undo this. And that was this part falling off, which is fine. I'll put it down with its corresponding parts. So let's unscrew this off. There we go. So just thread it on there. There's our, for a 10 mil wrench, it's plastic. Okay. Now, oh, that's very interesting. So let me get the flashlight out here. Sorry, the lighting isn't the greatest. It's kind of hard working on a boat. At least it's not in the water. So this spring fits in this groove, same as on like an oil seal has this spring in the back that keeps it applied onto the shaft with the right pressure. So we have this one on the outside here, and we put it down, and there should be a corresponding one, but there isn't because whoever worked on it before lost it. And just like on this one, somebody put a tie strap on it. So I really don't know how well that would have actually sealed for the true functioning of it. So let me get my little cutters and I'll cut that off, and I'll continue to take this apart. Alrighty, let's go and get this off now. Now I have these special little close cut pair of side cutters. They're actually perfect for little small wires, and they're awesome for tie straps. So I can see I can fit it in very easily right there, and done. So much easier than trying to get a big pair of side cutters in there. All right, so let's take this off. Yeah, the spring is definitely not there. And there's our backyard replacement spring, because tie straps and tape will fix most things. Anyway, so this is what the bellows looks like. Now, next thing we have to do is, whoops, I nearly fell over. There we go. So now we have to take the housing off, because there's a gasket behind here. And of course, it's also in the way of taking that R.A.V.E valve out. We'll just get this off. Making sure, yes, there's a washer on it. So whoever had it apart before, put the washers back. But they definitely lost both of the inner springs. So, of course, not available anymore. So I'm going to be making a pair of those from a spring from an old oil seal, because I don't want to do this tie strap thing. I'd rather put it back together the way it's supposed to be. All right, so, and a washer on there too, yes. All right. So now we'll slide this guy up. I don't know if we got enough slack in the cable. Yes, we do. And there is the gasket that I was talking about. So we'll be replacing that because it's hard as rock. And a little O-ring on here. It doesn't fit very good. It's just sort of flopping around on there. So we'll take that, put it in, segregate it into the parts that came off of that. And then I will just take this little nut for trying to get a grip on it out and see. Oh no, that thing is, oh man, that's jammed in there pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to put some spray on that and let that soak, and see if we can get these out. Of course, no damage is allowed because there's no parts, so it has to, whatever it takes to get these freed up and get them out damage free is what it's going to take. So I have some choke and carburetor cleaner spray that I'm using on here, and it's knocking the carbon off of that pretty good that way. So we'll see what we get. This one may come out first, so I will put the nut on this one, and it's moving more than it was before already, so that's kind of nice. Oh, almost. It's getting close. All right. Apparently, the cleaner works pretty well for this. All right, we'll let it soak for a bit and see where we get. So as you can see, I installed my little junior vice grips on there so I can get a better grip on it. And all right, look at that. Nice. It came out. Oh, it's pretty, well, look at that. It's pretty gold on the bottom, and it's got quite a bit of carbon on it too. And quite a bit of carbon on the top. All right. Perfect. Well, that's one out. This is more of a time-consuming job than anything else, because you got to be careful with it, and all of the, oh, come on. Oh, that one's worse now. Oh, there. Sorry about the rocky ride. The airboat's on a trailer. It's kind of like working on the water on a float plane. Everything moves continually. All right, this one's going to need to soak some more. And back at it again. It's moving a little more. If this frame part here wasn't in the way, I might be able to put a little baby slide hammer on it and knock it in and out, but can't do that. So all right, more spray, more soak. All right, let's see where we got to now. Oh, sweet. Out she came. Look at the amount of carbon on that. So no wonder it was stuck in there. All right, perfect. Now it's time to clean all of this up now that it actually can come apart. As you can see, I've got all the carbon removed. There's some staining there still. It's never going to be a perfect color like it was when it was brand new. On this side, there was some high spots that I could feel, so I just gave it a quick polish on my flat stone there with some super fine paper, just to get the mountain peaks off it. All of the little valleys that are in here, well, they're just going to stay there. So here is the valve from the PTO end, and it's got a lot of grossness on it too, so I'm going to go clean it up now. This one from the PTO end, it was pretty much the same way. It's galled, and I took the mountain peaks off of it. It's got some scratches in it, but it'll be fine. And the other side cleaned up, and of course now's a good time if you're doing this. You should really label them to make sure that you put it in. This will fit that way, and it'll also fit that way. That way, not such a good plan. This way, yes. So I haven't even actually cleaned in here, and that's actually quite free. Not as nice as this one, but pretty good. So I'm going to clean in there right now where it slides. Okay, so the next step for me is I want to clean the port here. And we're looking at this through the pore scope. I don't want any junk to fall into the engine, into the intake tract, into the crankcase. So, okay. So let's get, what are we looking at here? We're looking at, I'm just going in a circle here. We're looking at the dome of the piston. We can see that it's dry. There's, some reflection there. I got the light turned up pretty bright. Okay, so over here on the intake side, we can see two transfer ports through the cylinder wall. So I want those to be closed. So I'm going to rotate the engine a bit. There we go. Kind of reach through here, and okay. So now I'm happy that the piston is over the transfer ports. So we'll just go all the way around. Whoops. Okay, so there's one port that's open. Okay, so we'll go the rest of the way around. Okay, so let me reposition this onto, oh, come here, this side. Okay, so everything moves when you're working on a boat. Okay, now let me get my bearings back again, figure out where I am. Everything is in the way here. Okay, so there we go. Finally down where I want to be. So this in the middle of the screen, or let's see, when you're looking at it, it would be at the bottom of the screen. That's the actually is the top of the exhaust port, and right halfway up, that is the rounded part, of course, is the piston, and then the piston ring right on the very edge. So I am happy that I have the cylinder. There's the other side of the exhaust port. So now that we got our bearings in here, it's good. We know where we are, and everything else is closed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a little bit of compressed air in the spark plug hole, so that, and not very much, just a few pounds, just so that any debris that I make hopefully is just going to blow out of the port Anything I can do to keep the junk out from inside the engine is exactly what I want to do. You know, I know it's carbon, but it's still foreign substance. I don't want it in there. So here's my setup. I've plumbed in the air from the shop air, regulated down to 9 pounds. And I can definitely feel the airflow coming out of the port here. So I found a nylon brush. I'll wet this up. And continue to clean. I can see it blowing the spray out, which is exactly what I wanted. So I'll just keep at this. So far my phone isn't getting wet, so that's good. All right, go in with the bright light and see. Oh wow, let's turn the air off for a second so I can actually look in there. Oh, that's perfect. That is absolutely spotless in there. So I'm really, really happy with that. So I'm going to do the same procedure on the other cylinder with moving the piston through. And so the intake ports are closed. And then I will clean this one out. Now, when I take the air out, I'm going to also scope back in. So let's have a look and see if any junk went in and it's laying on top of the piston. So before the battery completely dies on my borescope, let's go back in and look and see, is there any carbon, any debris, anything in here? So we can see all around, completely all the way around. You can see a little more this way if I move the camera. If you have one of these cameras or something like this, they're really, really handy. There's a bit of an art. I don't know, it's probably like being a dentist, everything's backwards, it's upside down. So anyway, you have to kind of get used to it. All right, yeah, no junk in there whatsoever. So let's have a look in here and see, whoop, there we go, how clean that actually turned out. So that's very, very nice. I'm really impressed with that. I'll have to check these ports to make sure that they're not plugged, because that's how it works. It senses pressure. I guess we could call it back pressure or whatever you'd like in the exhaust, and that's what actually activates the valve to move. So nice outcome. I'm going to move the other cylinder, which is the PTO cylinder, and do exactly the same thing. So I've completed the PTO cylinder. Now it's all nice and clean, and I've made sure that these pressure ports are open. So as you can see, I can just put the little straw down here from the spray can. I cleaned them out just so that you see that they are perfectly clean and open. Very important that they are. Now, this is the PTO on the top side. Now, if you put this in the wrong way around or upside down, then it will hit the piston and cause great damage. So if you're taking these out ever, make sure that you refer to the any instructions or mark it as soon as you take it out so that you know it's in the right way. And so now I can turn the engine and it's not a problem. If I put this in, let me see where the piston is. If I put this one in upside down, when I go to turn the engine over, it touches. You see that? Okay, so if you put them in backwards and you hit the starter, that's going to just smash everything to bits. So pay attention when you take it apart and make sure you mark it. Just like always, we should always pay attention and see. Now, not to say these could have been installed upside down. Well, it would have smashed itself up. So by the fact that it was running means that they were in the right way. So when you take it out, then you can mark it. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I still have, as you can see, I have my little table set up here. I still have lots of other work to do on this. I'm just going to carry on and do the hoses, etc., and get it all up to standards. And I'll finish up with another video on how to put this all back together again. I have on order a bellows and gasket kit for the R.A.V.E valves. So that'll be another video. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Oh, like, subscribe, share. Thanks very much. Bye now.